What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is part 1 of my new competitive guide to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, this series should be in-depth enough to be able to take you from absolute beginner of the game to the point where you should be able to enter your local tournaments and have at least some success. Now, just knowing the information obviously isn't enough. You're going to need to practice. I'll be going over the best ways to practice in future videos, so make sure to subscribe so you can see whenever I make a new video in the series. I'm also going to be doing character analysis and guides in the future, probably starting with my favorite character, Kirby, so let me know if there are any specific character guides that you want to see in the future. This video is mostly going to be going over the absolute basic character moves, how they're generally used, and some terminology you're going to need to know. I'm going to be using terms I teach in this video in future videos, and knowing these terms will help you if you're ever watching a tournament and trying to listen to the commentary, or when you're talking and playing with other players. So if you've already played Smash 4 competitively, you're probably not going to be getting too much new info from this video, but make sure to stay tuned for videos in the future. So I'm going to be starting off going over all the moves that characters have, what buttons you need to press to perform them. I'm going to be using a GameCube controller, which I definitely recommend using. If you have an adapter from Smash 4, you can use that, but if you don't, a link to getting the adapter and a controller are in the description. A Switch Pro controller is not a bad option as well if you have one of those, but you will see nearly every pro using a GameCube controller. This is partly because the controller is just what they're used to using though. So you're not going to really be held back if you're using a different controller as long as it's not something like a single Joy-Con. But everything I'll be describing is me using a GameCube controller, so whatever layout you're using, just kind of translate that over. I mean, you should still have your A, B, X, Y buttons on the right side and your L, R, Z buttons on the top, or at least something similar. You're going to have the analog stick on the left, which is used for moving your character, and what we call the C stick, which is the analog stick on the right, which is used for attacking. So to start off, I'm going to be going over your tilt attacks. You have your forward tilt, your down tilt, and your up tilt. Now, forward tilt's often called just F tilt. You can perform these by holding the direction you want to go on the analog stick or the stick on the left, and then pressing the A button. So for example, forward tilts, I'm going to hold right and then press A. Now you don't need to walk while doing it, you can just go right A, and then this is forward tilt. Now this is down tilt when you have down, up tilt when you have up. Now some people may have trouble doing the up tilt because what will happen is when they try and go up on their controller, they will actually jump. Now you can perform up tilt by just kind of going about halfway or doing it slowly and then pressing up. Or if you had already pressed up and you keep holding it after you had jumped or done something, you can also do that by pressing A. But what I recommend doing is going into your controller settings and turning tap jump to off. If you click the suggested video in the top right, you can see how you can go and do that. But basically what that does is make it so if you hold up on your controller or press up, you're not going to jump, and you're limited to jumping with your X and Y buttons. So why is that useful? You're able to perform up tilts a lot easier, and if you're ever trying to go right or up to the right a little bit, you might jump on accident, and you don't want to do that. So I definitely recommend turning tap jump off, especially when you're just starting off and getting used to jumping with Y and X. So what are your tilts used for? Well, it depends on the character, but generally most characters have similar uses for a lot of their different moves. So I'm going to be going over what in general characters use their tilts for, but it will not apply to every specific character. So for example, up tilt for Mario is used sort of as a combo starter. Used to be a little bit better in Smash 4, but they nerfed it a little bit. But basically you can combo into itself like that. You can see the 5 combo from just using up tilts and linking them to each other. And you can also combo into up airs and up Bs eventually, stuff like that. So basically up tilt is used as a combo starter, and you can also catch people who are landing. So if you've got them in the air and you're trying to catch them while they're landing, you can use up tilt as well for that. So that's what most characters use up tilt for, but characters like Ganondorf and Captain Falcon have a little bit different of up tilts, so really everything I say is just in general. So your character might have something a little bit different, but this is just general rules of thumb for characters. Now forward tilt is kind of used as a quick get off me option, usually if the character is pretty close to you and you want to punish them, but you don't want to go for a laggy move like a forward smash. You can just go for something like an F tilt and you can shield right after. It's not a very committal move, you can just kind of throw them out whenever you want without getting punished too hard. Down tilt is usually pretty similar. It has a little bit less range in general than your forward tilts will, but also is used sometimes as a combo starter as well. Now those are your tilts. Now you also have your jab, which is when you press A without having anything on your analog stick. So if you're not holding any direction, you can use your jab. Jab is generally used as the quickest punish you have if you're trying to punish something. So for example, if Bowser were to hit my shield with something relatively safe and I needed to attack him right away, it's usually your quickest move is your jab. Most characters have jabs that come out around frame 3, which means 1/20th of a second it comes out. So they're very quick moves in general. Usually you're not going to be killing with jab. It's usually just to rack up some damage. Most characters have what's called a multi-jab, where you press A a few times and they should connect together. So if you only press it once, then Bowser can attack me right afterwards. Now next you have your smash attacks. Now these are performed pretty similarly to your tilts, except instead of going with the analog stick first and then pressing A, you actually are pressing them at the same time. So if you go forward and A at the same time, you will do a smash attack. Now you can also charge it if you hold down A, and when you let go of A, then you will perform the smash attack. Now you can also perform smash attacks with the C stick, which is the analog stick on the right side. So if you want to perform an up smash, you can go up on the C stick. And again, you can also charge it by holding up and then letting go when you want to release it. Now normally your smash attacks are used to kill. One of the biggest problems I see that beginners have is they use smash attacks way too often. And what happens is when you do that, you actually do what's called staling your moves. And you can see this is normally not on in training mode, but you can turn it on. It's normally on in a regular battle. When you do the same move over and over again, it'll get weaker. So that did 13%, now it only did 12. And if you keep using it, it's down to 11. So basically, when you use the same move over and over again, they become weaker. The game rewards you for mixing up your moves. Now, staling only affects the last 10 moves you have used, so if you used the move a long time ago, it won't carry over, and it also doesn't carry over for different stocks, but I can get more into that in a later video. Basically, what I'm recommending is mix up your moves. Don't go for the same exact move over and over again, or you're going to have some more trouble killing. Now, forward smash is usually the most powerful of your smash attacks, but usually kind of has the smallest range, so it usually hits just in front of you. Up smash, for example, hits almost all around Mario, and down smash, for most characters, hits all around you from the bottom. So usually it's a swing one side, swing to the other side. Some characters have some slightly different stuff, like Zero Suit Samus's down smash only hits in front of her, but generally this is how smash attacks behave. Now you also have your special moves. So you have your neutral B, when you just press the B button. You have your side B, when you hold one direction and then press B. You also have your up B. That is generally used to recover. And then you have your down B. Now, characters have wildly different applications and uses for all of their special moves, but for about 90-something% of characters, your up B will help you recover. So when you're off stage, you can use your jump, and then you can use your up B to help get back to the stage. That's usually what you want to use it for. Usually you're not going to be attacking too much with your up B, just in general, because most characters, it puts you into free fall after. As you can see, I can't do anything right now until I land. Now, some characters have really good specials, and some characters don't have very good specials. You're going to have to look up character guides for your specific character to see how they're generally used and if you should be using them a lot. So, for example, with Kirby, like Kirby's side B, which is his hammer, is not a very good move in competitive Smash, so you won't see me using that too much. But, for example, Mario's fireballs are pretty good to just kind of throw out there. They're very safe to use, and you can just kind of use them when the character is not too close to you and they can't punish you for using them. Now, you also have your aerial attacks. So you have up air, when you're holding up and then pressing A. This is a lot easier to perform with tap jump off, so you won't waste your second jump trying to up air. You also have your forward air, which is when you hold the direction that you're facing and then pressing A. You also have your back air, which you perform when you press the direction you're not facing. So for example, I'm facing to the left, and then if I go right after I jump, so you have to jump first or else you're going to turn around. So jump right A, and you will perform a back air. Jump right A, jump right A, like that. And you can also perform all of these with the C stick without having to move. So if I'm trying to perform a back air, a lot of times I'll end up moving a little bit. But if you press the direction you want to use your aerial with the C stick, you won't move at all. And you also have your down air when you hold down and then pressing your aerial. And you also have your neutral air when you press A without holding any direction at all. Up air is used for a lot of characters to link into itself, so you can go up air, and that's a combo for a lot of characters. But not every character will have that specifically. For a lot of characters, their down air will be a spiking move, which means when the character is off stage and you land it, it will send them straight downwards. Mario's down air does not do that. Instead, his forward air is actually the one that spikes people downwards. Let's see if I can hit it. Yeah, like that. Your neutral air is generally your fastest aerial. So if you're getting comboed and you want to kind of just throw out a move that's really quick, neutral air is usually a pretty good option. A lot of characters, it comes out on frame 3, which is super quick. A lot of aerials don't come out till like frame 10. I think Mario's forward air is probably around like 15 or 20. Your back air is usually a pretty powerful aerial, and it also comes out pretty quick. It's kind of harder to perform because you have to face the other way, so the game kind of rewards you for that by usually making them pretty fast and pretty powerful. A lot of characters' best moves are actually their back air. Now, some characters actually have a move called a zair, which is when you press the Z button while you're in the air, kind of like your forward air, back air, neutral air, and down air. Mario does not have one, but most characters kind of with a tether. So for example, Link, Toon Link, Young Link, Zero Suit, Samus, characters like that. When you use your zair, it sends out just a little bit of a tether and can hit your opponent as well. Now you also have your dash attack, which is performed when you're running in one direction and then you press A. Now you can run by flicking the analog stick in one direction quickly. If you do it slowly, you're just going to do kind of a fast walk. But if you're running, press A, you're then able to dash attack. Now, in this game, if you stop holding the direction that you're running for any second, you can then perform any input you want. So, like this. But if you keep holding in the direction that you're running, you will then perform the dash attack. Now, dash attacks are very character dependent. A lot of characters have really good dash attacks. A lot of characters have really bad dash attacks. So really, it's pretty character dependent. Mario's is probably a little below average. He generally has better approach options than dash attack, but your dash attack can send them into the air and potentially lead up with some follow-ups. You want to mix up your approaches, so you don't want to always just dash attack or always just do something when you're running at your opponent. Always mix up, change up your options, keep your opponent thinking. Now you also have shield, which is usually done by pressing the L or R button, whatever you prefer. I prefer using the R button, which is on top. And what happens is you will block attacks, but you will not block grabs. I'll be going over grabs in just 1 minute. But basically, if Bowser were to attack me, if I hold my shield, I can then block it. If your shield gets too weak, your shield will break. Now, this is usually pretty rare, but you do have to be wary of that. So you use shields to block hits and then punish them for hitting your shield. Now, in this game, a lot of moves are actually pretty safe on shield, which means when they hit you, you can't punish them very well. Sometimes you might only be able to use a jab or something like that, or maybe you aren't able to punish them at all. But you'll basically have to learn how laggy moves are in general and what you can do after blocking a move. Now, when you grab your opponent, you do that by pressing the Z button on top. You can also grab when you're holding shield and pressing the A button. That will also input a grab that's called a shield grab. Now, the best way to beat a shielding opponent is to go up and grab them. Now, once you grab them, you can do what's called pummeling them by pressing the A button, or I believe the Z button as well. I recommend using A, though. From here, you can throw them downward, you can throw them upward, you can throw them forward, or you can throw them back. Now, what happens is, if you hold them too long, they will then go away from you like that. At 0%, he'll get out pretty quickly, but if he was at a bit higher percent, he'll actually stay grabbed for a little bit longer, as you can see here. Now, the opponent can actually decrease the amount of time that they are grabbed if they press a bunch of buttons, so what's called mashing out. But generally, you'll want to throw them before they mash out. A good rule of thumb is about 1 pummel per 10 or 15% they have. Is usually pretty safe. So 0%, I'm only going to pummel him like once before I throw him. So your different throws have different uses. Usually down throw is used kind of as a combo starter, so you can usually lead it into different things. Forward throw usually doesn't combo into much, but just kind of sends them off stage. Back throw is the one that's usually the most powerful and can kill, sometimes at the ledge, so you'll be able to see that I'm actually able to kill Bowser with my back throw, probably right around that percent. Depends on the character, but a lot of characters have pretty strong back throws. Not every character, though. Now, some characters don't have any kill throws or any combo throws, kind of like Jigglypuff, Bowser Jr., I believe. They don't really have throws that combo into other things, so some characters' grab game is a little more important and a little better than others. For example, Mario's is pretty good. He has his up throw and down throw, which combo into stuff pretty well, and his back throw kills pretty early as well. Characters like Mewtwo have a very strong up throw, and characters like Ness have a very strong back throw. And you also have what's called an air dodge, which is what happens when you're in the air and you press the L or R button. Now, Smash Ultimate reintroduced from Melee was called directional air dodges, so when you air dodge, you can then press a direction and you will then air dodge in that direction. You can do it in any direction, so you can go down. You can also go up with it when used to recover. This is very nice for recovering because then you can be invincible for a little while you grab the ledge and can send you pretty far. But usually you're going to be using it when trying to land and the character is trying to attack you. So let's say Bowser's trying to hit me. If I air dodge away from him, he'll have a harder time trying to hit me as I'm falling to the ground. So now I'm going to be going over some terms that hopefully should be helpful if you're ever listening to someone and you aren't sure what they mean. We're talking about spike and meteors. Now this is basically when a move sends you straight downwards. Different percents, they'll actually have a slightly different sound for the meteor effect. There's also sweet spot and sour spot, which is basically to describe a strong part of a move or the weak part of a move. So for example, when Mario's Nair comes out, it stays out for a very long time. But when I hit with the end of the move, it'll do a lot less than the start. So let's see. That only did 5.4%, but if I hit it right when the move comes out, it'll do 7.9. That's even with staling. So in general, moves that when they first come out are stronger than when they're at the end of their animation. So a big example is Falcon's forward air, also called the knee, is when you hit it right when it comes out, it'll do a ton of damage and send them really far. But if you hit the weak part of it, what's called the weak knee, it won't send them nearly as far. One of my favorite terms, called juggling, is basically when you keep a character in the air and you aren't letting them land, kind of like juggling. So if you get hit a few times in a row without landing, you're getting juggled. You also have what's called a footstool, basically when you jump on a character's head. So even if you've used your double jump, you can still footstool an opponent. So jump, jump, I can still footstool him like that. And this is very useful off stage because it'll send your opponent a little bit downwards and sometimes can lead to a kill. You also have edge guarding, which is when an opponent is off stage and you're hitting them to prevent them from getting back to the stage. So right here I'm edge guarding the Bowser and then ended up killing him because he couldn't make it back. Now a combo is when you link two moves together and the opponent could not escape it. So right there you saw that was a combo, up throw to up air. It did 2 in a row and he was not able to escape it. Now the counter combo in training mode isn't exactly perfect, but you can then use it just kind of as a good rule of thumb for if a move can connect to each other. So right there you saw an 11 combo. Now a string is kind of similar to a combo, except usually a string is not something that is guaranteed. So if I were to hit Bowser and then follow up with something like that, that's called a string. So you do a string of moves, but basically they don't combo into each other. So an example of a string could be something like this, where maybe everything wasn't guaranteed or in a row, but you're able to put some cool moves together and maybe finish off your opponent. Now you also have directional influence, or DI, which is basically holding the analog stick a certain way after getting hit. So let's say Bowser was thrown off stage right there. If he wanted to live as long as he could, he's going to be holding back towards the stage. So holding left from Bowser right away after getting thrown off stage will help him survive the absolute longest, and that's called DI, or directional influence, because the direction you're holding influences your character and where he's going to go, and obviously you want to stay alive as long as possible. I'll be doing a separate video specifically on just that though. We also have something new to this game, which is called parrying. It's normally called perfect shielding, but it's a little bit different in this game. It used to be you'd put out your shield right before a move would hit, but now you want to actually let go of your shield right before a move's hit. So I'll show you exactly what that's about. Like that. So your character will glow when performing the parry to know you did it successfully, and then you are able to attack with a quick move to punish your opponent. I'll be talking a lot more about that later, but at least you know what it is. Now, it's very new to Smash Bros, so people are still working on getting it a little more consistently. I'm having some trouble with it right now, but hopefully I can get a little bit better with that in the future. You also have what's called a fast fall. So normally, if you jump in the air, you'll land pretty slowly like this. But if you press down when you're in the air, after you've already reached the peak of your jump, so you start going down. If you press down while you're still going up, nothing will happen. But once you've already reached the top, if you press downwards, then you're gonna fall faster. So this is useful because when you're jumping around or performing a move, you're able to land a lot faster with it. And you also want to use this when you're in free fall, so you can land as quick as possible and not be punished as hard. So I think those are most of the things that you'll need to know to at least get started in Smash. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any questions about any specific terms or anything that I talked about in this video, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to help you out. I know a lot about Smash Bros. I've played for a very long time. I've played Smash 4 competitively. And so I know how difficult it can be and how frustrating it can be when first starting off. So hopefully this video series will help you get to the top. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what sort of tutorials you want to see in the future. So if you want to see videos on specific things, or if you want to see anything for a specific character, please let me know. I'd love to create some videos for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you making through the entire video. If you could help me out by subscribing to my channel or leaving a like on this video, it would mean a ton to me. Make sure to stay tuned for future videos. Thank you again for watching. Peace.